Happy Tuesday. So this morning I did all these videos and they were all terrible, so I had to start over again. All right, so out of the four I made, I got to keep one. Yay! So I hope you guys are having a better day than I am. All right, but it's good if you can laugh about it, right? All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to continue with history, fourth grade, okay? And we're going to continue with recapping our territories. So the two that we're looking at today are the Northern Marianas and Guam, okay? Guam is going to be the one that you're most familiar with due to the fact of our proximity to Guam. Okay, and if you fly to Asia, like Japan, or the Asian continent, yes, or if you fly to the Philippines, a lot of times you'll have a layover in Guam. So that's kind of the one that we're most familiar with here. All right, so we're going to start though with the Northern Marianas. Okay, and here's all my little notes so that I make sure I don't forget anything important. So if you see me look down, that's what I'm looking at, my notes. Here we go. Are you ready? All right. So the Northern Mariana Islands are a bunch of islands like we talked about yesterday. All the territories are islands, which are interesting but true. And so the Northern Marianas, again, is a group of islands, but they have three big islands that are in the Northern Marianas, the ones that are most populated. Okay, so the Northern Marianas are in the Pacific Ocean and they're east of the Philippines. And the three main islands that are there are Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. The Tinian one, I always want to call it something else, so I always hesitate before I say it because I want to say something else for it. So the Tinian Island, the island of Tinia, is the island that the United States sent the atomic bombs from during World War II to land on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, so that is why you might know Tinian. Saipan is the most populated island of the Northern Meridian Islands, and that might be why that one might sound familiar to you. Okay? All right, so the United States has owned the Northern Marianas since we ended World War II. That was part of what we got in the peace settlement from World War II. Okay, so we're going to talk about those today. Northern Marianas became a Commonwealth in 1975. Remember, Commonwealth means that they wrote their own constitution. And it did not say in the book, but if it's like the Philippines, when they wrote their own constitution, any person born, Puerto Rico, so sorry. It's like if it's like Puerto Rico, where Puerto Rico wrote its own constitution, then in Puerto Rico, when you're born, you're an American citizen, so that might be the same case in the Northern Marianas because they are also a Commonwealth. Did not say it in the book, but I would guess the same rules apply, being that they are both Commonwealths and territories. Okay? All right, so the Chamorro people, just like in Guam, the Chamorro people are the original native peoples of the Northern Marianas. Just like the Polynesians, they set sail, looking around, exploring. They found the Northern Marianas. They settled those islands in their explorations. Okay, just like Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, the Northern Marianas were claimed for Spain, but unlike the other two, they were not claimed, the Northern Marianas were not claimed by Christopher Columbus, they were claimed by Magellan. So Magellan was also a very famous explorer. He was after Columbus. So he found the Northern Marianas in 1521 and claimed them for Spain. And Spain sent missionaries over there right away to convert everybody to Catholicism because that is the religion of the Spanish people. Okay? There was also an island close to these called Carolina Island, and the people from there also found the Northern Marianas and also settled there. So you have Carolinas and Chamorro peoples that still live there today. Okay, um, the Marianas were owned by several groups of people. Okay, so first they were their own, and then Spain came in, and then Germany took them from Spain. I don't really understand that because um, the Marianas are way over here and Germany is way over here. I'm not really sure how that all happened. But then during World War II, Japan took it over because, as you know, Japan is close to the Philippines and all that. So that makes way more sense. And they were on their hunt on not hunt, I don't like that word, but they were on their world domination thing that they were taking over a lot of areas around them. They took over China, remember, and they took over the Northern Marianas, and they took over the Philippines, and so they were going through and they were taking a lot of territory, and so that's when the Northern Marianas were occupied by Japan. So as the United States is in World War II, they fight for these islands. They defeat the Japanese. And this is a very important island group for them to have because now they can send bombers from these islands to Japan. And because remember, the fuel and all of that was an issue before they took over these islands. After World War II, the U.S. military wants to keep the islands. It is in the treaty that we get to maintain possession of the islands, and we have to this day. So they are a territory. Okay. All right. So most of the people that live there are either Chamorro, Carolina, or Asian people. Remember Asian, when we talk about Asian people, we talk about the continent of Asia. So the people that live on the continent of Asia are what we talk about when we say that. Most of the people live in Saipan, on Saipan, sorry. They are the most populated island, just like Oahu is the most populated island of Hawaii, the one that you all live on, and me, okay? All right, so there's two languages spoken in the Northern Marianas, English, obviously, as well as Chamorro, because that's what the Chamorro people speak. So just like here, we speak English, but people also speak Hawaiian, same kind of thing there, okay? Even today, many people on the islands are Roman Catholic because remember, that's what Spain did whenever they took over our country. They also sent missionaries to convert everybody to Catholicism. All right. The climate there is tropical, just like here, so you would see a lot of the same kind of flora and fauna there. Okay. So something that is unique about the Northern Marianas is that the Mariana Trench is there. So the trench is the deepest part of the ocean that we know about. It's 35,000 feet. And the book compared it to Mount Everest. So Mount Everest is very, very tall. A lot of people climb it every year because it is so tall. There's like no oxygen at the top, so they have to bring oxygen with them. It's considered a very treacherous, dangerous climb, but people do it. So if you took Mount Everest and you tipped it upside down and then stuck it into the ocean, okay, the Mariana Trench would be deeper than that mountain even. So the mountain might stop like here, and then the trench wouldn't stop till down here. Okay, so that just gives you some idea of how tall, how deep it really is, because we can't imagine in our mind what 35,000 feet would look like. Okay, so that gives you an idea. Um, Mount Everest is taller than the mountains that are here on this island, just to give you an idea, or on the Big Island in the islands of Hawaii. The Mount Everest is taller, so that gives you some sort of an idea of taking those mountains, turning them upside down, stick it in the water, and that's how deep it is. All right. Okay. The natural resources of the Northern Marianas are coconuts, fish, fruits, and vegetables. Their industry is tourism, okay, clothing, fishing, and agriculture. Remember, we said agriculture is farming. All right. The flora there are their main tree in the Northern Marianas is the flowering flame tree. And then they grow things like we do, papaya, mangoes, orchids, plumeria. Okay, same kinds of things. So the fauna are birds, and one of their very cute birds is called a fruit dove. It's native to the islands. And also the Tinian monarch is also native to the islands. Okay, so some fish that they have are rabbit fish, unicorn fish. They have rays and sea turtles, whales, and dolphins. Okay, so a lot of the same kind of flora and fauna that you see here. All right, so the next territory we're going to talk about is Guam. So Guam is south of the Northern Marianas. They're actually part of the Mariana chain, but they are their own territory. Okay, so they're kind of separated in that way. The Guam is in the Pacific Ocean. Okay, and it is the largest of the Marianas, like I said. And just like the Northern Marianas, the Chamorro people settled there. They were taken over by Spain, just like the Northern Marianas in the 1500s. Okay, and Spain held them for 300 years. All right. Um, the United States acquired Guam after the Spanish American War. That was part of the treaty. Remember, we got Puerto Rico at that time. We also got Guam at that time. And we held on to Guam until World War II when Japan took it over in its, run for the world kind of thing that they did. And we regained it back again during World War II, and we have had Guam ever since. The U.S. military, every branch of the military has a base on Guam. So the Marines are there, the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, they all have bases there. The military is actually the biggest industry that Guam has. The next biggest is tourism. Not as many people come from this direction to Guam, but a lot of people come from Asia and Russia to Guam for vacation, just like people come here for vacation. Okay, so tourism is a big thing. So during this crisis, of course, they're having difficulties with that as well. Um, so Guam has its own government, but that government is overseen by the United States government. And so they have some independence, but they kind of like have oversight the U.S. government, so they make sure things are going the way that they want them to go. And if they don't, they step in. So I know that there was issues there with garbage pickup, and the United States government stepped in and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Okay, so they were working on getting that all straightened out. All right, so there are a lot of cultural things that still exist there for the Chamorro people. Like I said, they speak the language. Their greeting is Hafa Hadai, okay, which means hi. Yeah. They still have their cultural homes the way that they like them. They have these stones that they put in front of them called a latte stone, which kind of looks like a goblet, and then it has a thing. There's pictures in your book, yeah. It has like a thing that comes down and then a goblet on top that they put in front of their homes. They teach their children to respect their elders. They have their style of music, their style of food, just like Hawaii has their style of music and their dance and all of that. That comes from the Polynesian people who came here and took the islands over from whoever was here before. There was no indication of a different people group being on Guam before the Chamorro people. Okay. All right. The biggest religious group on the island is Catholic, as you know. The climate is tropical, so again, it has a lot of the same things that we have here. So the natural resources are fish, ocean life, coral, algae, seagrass, turtles. The flora, they have a ephit tree. I don't know if we have that here. They have bougainvillea. We have bougainvillea, but I don't know of any ephit trees on the island. So maybe I don't know if we have that here or not. For the fauna, they have brown tree snakes. So unlike here, where we've done our very good job keeping snakes off the island, they had snakes to invade their island at some point, and there's no natural predators. So I know that they have brown tree snake traps to try to catch them and stuff. Because just like here, they have birds that nest on the ground, and snakes like eggs, right? And if they're easy access, why not? Okay. They also have water buffalo, caribou, and they have lizards, frogs, seabirds, fruit bats. Okay. Um, they also have a lot of construction as an industry there. Not really sure what they make, but that was what was in the book. So we're recapping that. Okay, so I hope that this video was helpful to you, and your test on this chapter is going to be next week, not this week, but you can start studying if you would like to. And so tomorrow you're supposed to be watching some videos on Puerto Rico, Virginia, Guam, and the Northern Marianas. I will tell you at this point of taping, which today is Saturday for me, I have not found the videos that I like. Some of them are just not what I'm really looking for. And so I'm hoping to find these videos for you and put them there. If not, I will come up with something else for you to do. But that's my plan. So have a good day, and I hope this was helpful, and I will see you later. Bye-bye, guys.